And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Traveling up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. Off. It's orange!
Orange 25! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Décollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Well, we've been waiting all day for this. We've been waiting for Ship 33 to get a lift from the Chopsticks after getting a hug for several hours. And finally, we're starting to get a full stack. So, this is milestones for Flight 7. This is where Ship 33 will go atop of Booster 14. And hopefully it won't take 18 hours because I don't think we can talk for that long. Although Alex can, because Alex is with us. Hello, Alex.
No, I don't think I will be able to speak for 18 hours either, but, at least for some amount of time at the very least, and, hopefully it doesn't take that long today.
We've also got Adrian with us, and that might be a clue to something that usually happens during full stacks. Am I leaking too much, Adrian?
No, the topic of the stream is literally plus NSF Flight 7 patch release, Chris. So yes, we will, as soon as that ship will start lifting, I will start the release process, which is a few buttons and twitchers I have to turn on. But yes, this very much is the moment on a stream where we will release our Flight 7 patch.
Very good. Now, if you've got any questions, you know the routine by now. Do at NASASpaceflight, followed by your question. It goes into a panel, and I'm going to have to try and work out which panel it is. Oh, I think I found it because things are starting to arrive into it. There we go. So yes, the questions will go into a special panel, so we're not constantly trying to scroll up and down the live chat and trying to find the questions. I'm just seeing people going bonkers for the patch. You've not seen it yet. We could put a patch out with just like me going waving, and then people will be like, oh, I got all excited about the patch for no reason whatsoever. But no, the patch is great. I've seen it. I've been very good. I've not leaked it because I get very tempted to leak things. But now I'd be in so much trouble with Adrian if I did. But yeah, we're watching anyway. The main part of this show is Ship 33 being lifted on top of Booster 14. That should set the stage for... Now, this is the turnaround time. This is later than we expected. But we're hoping to be a wet dress rehearsal on Friday. Alex, what do they need to do? I mean, once they stack it, what's the timeline then to prepare for a wet dress rehearsal?
That's a great question. So right now, it looks like they have a closure for tomorrow for some kind of testing, right? I think it's going to be that wet dress rehearsal. And so that should be just a matter of, putting both stages together, just like they're about to do now, and hooking up to the quick disconnect arm and everything, hooking up to that ship. And other than that, it's just clearing the pad, getting the road closed in the morning, and all that jazz. It's more procedural now than really technical readiness. It seems like the vehicles are more or less ready in that sense. But of course, it's a new ship. A lot of things have changed in the tank farm side of things. So, we'll see how things go tomorrow during that testing. It'll be exciting, nonetheless.
You know what I'm going to do, Adrian? I've already seen it in chat. People asking, will it be pre-order? Yes, this patch will be pre-order. We're going to use the word pre-order. In fact, I'm going to go for a world record attempt of how many times I'm going to say pre-order on all streams that I'm on, because it's an obvious... It's not an obvious thing, I should say, because the patches are unique. We don't just sort of like say, it's something we have in stock and we've worked on it beforehand. It's something we design, We then send off to this special company who make the patches, and then they have to ship the patches over to our warehouse in Texas. And once they're in the warehouse, like Patch 6, once they're in the warehouse, they all get shipped out. And I think they got shipped out, all of them, within like 2 days, didn't they, the pre-orders? They all go out in one go. But we have to wait for that process. And the process of getting them to Texas takes a while. So we always do it on a pre-order. But then we always have, and it's understandable, we have people saying, where's my patch? Because the way online stores work is they estimate the arrival time and it's always wrong. So we'll keep pressing it. It's pre-order and you'll be informed every step of the way as far as when they'll be shipped out. So it's something that everyone in here can pass on if they see it in a chat sometimes. Maybe someone's arrived and they're not someone who spends all the day on Starbase Live or on a live stream like this. Just remind them, just say it's pre-order. I've had it from Flight 5 and Flight 6 and this is how it works. I went long rambling there. I should have just basically made them more concise, but there we go. I want to thank some people. Robert's Auto Repair. I don't know if that's an advert, but you're welcome to it. Has become a Padrat member. Welcome. Auto Repair. Robert, everyone go to Robert's Auto Repair for your car. There we go. I've done an advert for you for free. Eric Fraser, you gifted a Red Team membership, one of our regulars. Thank you, Eric. Jack Wells has done a $20 tip. Jack, thank you, Jack. Thanks so much, you say in your reply. Well, you've just helped us and you said thank you for helping us. That's amazing. Thank you. Bideford, absolute regular. Gifted 5 Red Team memberships. And Plutonium239. I'd have to rewatch Chernobyl now. Do you think there's a competition between Blue Origin's New Glenn and SpaceX's Starship? Which one do you think will do the job better? Oh. You know what? I'm going to go to Adrian first because Adrian's a massive New Glenn fan.
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I'm also a massive Starship fan. I like both of them. I'm not sure. I think there's enough launch market for both of them. I think they're not really in 100% the same segment. They also share some similarities. Both are, for example, launches for the Artemis program. But that doesn't mean they fight each other there. They just complement each other in that system. We also have Amazon's Kuiper constellation, which will be very much a lot of launches from Blue Origin's New Glenn. We have a SpaceX Starlink constellation, which will see a lot of launches from Starship. So I think both companies have their individual goals, their individual setups, and I think there's space for both of them. And I'm just excited to see both fly because both have reusability in mind. We know very much that Starship will become a fully reusable rocket. We know also Blue Origin has the intention to turn New Glenn into a fully reusable rocket over time. So honestly, I ain't complaining that we have 2 fully reusable rockets in development at the same time. I don't think that's that bad.
Very good. We are keeping a very close eye on the star of the show, Ship 33. I have seen people in chat saying on an A/B test where you go backwards and forwards very fast in your stream, which you can do on desktop at least. I think you can do it on mobile as well. And they're saying they've seen some movement. Can we confirm? Oh, Adrian's going to confirm already before I even finish my sentence.
Sorry, I'm just quickly jumping in there. The move actually has started several minutes ago, where you could see the chopsticks taking the weight. You can sometimes see the chopsticks a bit flexing and bend, like going down a bit, and that is because this is a very heavy ship. So before it even lifts, the chopsticks need to take that weight. They need to take over that weight, and then that's basically our signal to go live. Because we then can see that the ship is now kind of airborne. And the first few meters of the lift always go a bit slower because you're right above that transporter, right? You don't want to dent any Raptors, and you also want to make sure the lift is going well. And once they are a bit more in the air, that's when they really speed it up. That's when they're really, going full speed up there.
Also, Adrian, probably worth mentioning, this is the first Block 2 ship that they lift with the chopsticks.
Yes.
And Block 2 ships have a different location. Those lifting points, they have like little holes, sockets, right? And that's where the pins on the chopsticks go in, and they lift the vehicle, right? So that's on a different location for Block 2 because the ship is a bit longer, right? And so they need to position that in a different location, and that's potentially maybe part of this as well, where they need to carefully now lift this vehicle because it's a new thing. It's completely new.
What I need to do, I need to pin the latest daily video into chat just so people know what the reference is here. But I'm trying to find it in my eyesight. Here we go. Thomas says, I don't speak German or Spanish, but I listen to Starbase Update in all 3 languages, lols. That was something we did specially today for the latest video, which covers... We used to call them dailies because we used to put them out every single day. But obviously that became, silly because you can't do it every single day. We want to diversify with the videos we do. But this latest Starbase summary, which we've been doing regularly with Daz, doing commentary over, we thought this time we'll also do it in different languages. And we do have Adrian who speaks German because he's German, and we have Alex because he's Spanish and speaks Spanish. So we did it in those different languages, and it seems to have gone down quite well. Chat, tell us if you've watched that video yet. If you've not, I'll pin it in a second. And watched it in different languages, even if you don't speak those languages. Let's see what chat says to that. Yes. Oh,
People talk about Klingon.
Yeah, look at how fast it goes up here. That's now the proper speed. I also think, Chris, we can say that since the interest is there and people seems to like it, we will, if we find the time and everything continues to work, Alex and I have very much the attention to do this for more dailies.
Very good. I'm going to pin it. There we go.
Yeah, it's rather easy. One of the comments were saying like, do you not script this? And it was like, no, we just do one take, right? Daz has done that for a long time, and he's done a great job. Now we're doing that as well, now in German and Spanish. So
there we go, we pinned it. And also it does help if I actually watch the live feed in our back room, because I tend to just basically watch the YouTube stream and it was a few minutes behind. So now I'm catching up. There we go. We have the ship rising up properly now. Of course, one thing we do know from experience, Jonathan says do it in Yorkshire. Yeah, well, that's very easy. Hey up, ship 33 now. We do know that from previous experiences, and this being a Block 2 ship, it might be slightly different, we don't know, that this part of the actual lift doesn't take too long. They'll swing it over, but the actual lowering to mate it with booster 14 does take a while. So that could be the longest part of this stream. Just be prepared for people who may be new to this. I do have a relevant question towards this lift, and that is Matrix, who asks, so what's the deal with the new ship catch point? Alex, do you want to talk about the catch point that Mary got a great photograph of recently?
Yeah, I mean, the deal right now is that they are being, that they fitted Ship 33 with those. They are just more like non-structural mock-ups, right? Like they just bolted on a structure that is pretty much like the final thing on later vehicles, but it is not structural. Like they will not be able to catch it even if they want to, right? But there you can see also they added the stickers with the Megazilla and the Ship 33 decal as well. Also the Megazilla with a pair of chopsticks in hand, which I think it's funny. But yeah, those are just to be able to test it through re-entry, because they're not going to catch the ship. The booster they're going to try, right? As we saw on flights 5 and 6. Flight 5, they caught it. Flight 6 aborted. Hopefully Flight 7 will be another catch, but you never know. In the case of the ship, as I was saying, they will not try a catch, but they need to be able to know if those things will survive a re-entry, right? And so they're going to be going through a re-entry with those, see if they actually survive, and maybe, you remember Elon said, maybe Flight 8 will be the catch. We'll see, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the big questions.
That's exciting to me, because it shows that they're still probably on track to go for Flight 8 with the catch of the ship if everything goes well with Flight 7. That was a caveat Elon mentioned at the time, that if everything goes right with Flight 7, we'll try and catch the ship on Flight 8. So this sign of hardware on Flight 7's ship is almost like, let's see what the ship performs like with this hardware on, because there's lots of impacts that could happen, such as the aerodynamic forces and what have you. They want to get data on how the ship flies with the hardware installed, and it makes sense being the first Block 2 as well. So this is all very encouraging towards the potential of seeing Flight 8 also have a ship catch, and I think that will blow people's minds, never mind the booster being caught, which we also hope will happen on Flight 7. So that's encouraging. Yes. I want to thank some people, by the way, because I'm so rude. I do it every single time on commentary. I never thank the people in the back room. Let's start with Ryan Caton, who's producing this stream. So thank you to Ryan Caton. He was the one who put the picture of Mary's pictures up there of the actual thing we were talking about. Also, I see several other people in the back room. I'm not sure who's doing what. I know Gage will be controlling cameras. Gage is always our expert tracker, but also does a lot of work with Starbase Live and our live stream. So thank you to Gage. We've also got Jay Keegan in the background, probably waiting to fix things because Jay Keegan likes to fix things. We always go fix it.
Yeah.
And that's the quote that I came up with, not Kevin Michael Reid, who's also in the back room somewhere doing something. So there we go. So thank you to Kevin Michael Reid. And Need Pizza's always present, but never likes the thanks. But I'm going to thank him anyway. There we go. Moving quickly on. I see Kevin typing, by the way.
Jay and I are preparing our usual fight because, as you know, Jay is handling some of the backend stuff for NSF. And what the patch tends to do is overload our panel, which we use to look at your questions and everything. So Jay and I have this internal battle to see who is basically if the panel is able to keep up with the patch. And I think we can see to give a bit of an update here. Ryan, can we show something here? Because look at this.
Hang on, we're getting revealed already. I thought we waited for full start.
No, it's not revealed yet.
Oh,
look at that.
That's kind of revealed. Even my eyesight can work that one out. Although I've been looking at it long enough, probably just my mind's working past a blur.
But I'm after this, we showed this. I will now take some steps to make sure everything's updated. So I will mute myself and we'll leave you and Alex for a bit, and then we will come back to show it to you all in a bit.
Terrible censorship. I can work that out. Chat, can you work that out from that blur? That blur looks like one of the most almost like I can work that out from there. We should have just put a complete black graphic over it. That'd have been more of a censor. I don't know. I'm not in control of these things. That's why I'm not allowed to leak things, because I would have probably just shown a patch full stop. There we go. So we're waiting for full stack for that, and that's where Adrian's going to work on now to prepare the store for those orders. There's pre-orders. Keep saying the word pre-order, Chris. Alex, remind me to not say order, pre-order. That's the word I'm looking for. I do have a relevant question to this, by the way, because we've been talking about ship 33 being lifted on top of booster 14. There is something in the middle between the two, and that is the hot staging ring. And that is from Mr. Bamboozler, who asks, when will the hot staging ring stay attached to the booster during a catch? So we're talking about when they stop jettisoning it, because I do remember Kate Ty said on the SpaceX stream, I think it was the first time we saw the hot staging ring, that hot staging ring will eventually be integrated on the booster, correct?
Yeah, that'll be with the Block 2 version of the booster. So right now, as we were talking, the ship is the first Block 2 ship, but the booster is still Block 1. So it's a weird kind of Frankenstein kind of thing, right? Of a rocket where you have one version of the booster and one different version of the ship. But yeah, right now we're gonna have to still see that hot staging ring being jettisoned before the reentry, because otherwise, it messes a bit with the mass distribution, the aerodynamics, and whatnot. So for now, it will not be integrated just yet. That'll be when they go out and they launch Block 2 boosters. Then that'll be already integrated. We won't even need to call it hot staging ring, I guess, because it's gonna be integrated. So it'll just be the hot staging structure or something like that, right? It'll be some kind of lattice structure on top of the booster, I guess. Kind of excited to see that.
It'd be like the Russian vehicles that have that hot staging. We've seen it's not something new. I know a lot of people, completely understandably, because SpaceX are very innovative. They think SpaceX invented this. It's not. It's been something from the olden days. We've seen it before, especially on Russian rockets. I've noticed people, my email's going crazy. I get notifications. I don't, that's all I get. Notifications of everything for the store. And my email started binging like crazy. I'm thinking, what's going on? People have worked out, they found the patch in the store already before we officially reveal it. That's fine. Adrian's fine with that. But I want to tip my hat to how people have literally been searching through the store to find it, as Adrian was talking about it and showing that kind of reveal earlier. So well done to you people. You should all be working for the FBI because you've worked it out and I can see you're ordering it already. Is Adrian back to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's time to show it. Let's bring it up. I think we are at the point where people are finding it. The store is updated. Everything seems to work, which is always a good sign. So there we go. There's the stinger, and there's our Flight 7 patch. I'm so happy that we can finally show it. I think I'm glad we finally have a very green patch. Green is my favorite color. I think especially the stitching on the ocean looks amazing. The waves. So I'm just so happy to reveal this. It's now available to pre-order. I'm saying it on shop.nasaspaceflight.com. We expect this to ship in February. We will update you constantly once we have more updates on the timeline. But of course, the main angle for this patch is the celebration of the version 2 of the Starship with the alternated and changed flaps. So yeah, there it is. I hope you like it.
There's 3,700 people on the stream, which is a great audience, but we get massive audiences for big things like launches and what have you. And if my email is breaking right now, as it is, on 3,700, then goodness, I'm just going to close my inbox on launch day. I'm going to say that straight away because the bongs that are going off are starting to get in my. I'm going to have to turn my volume down on my PC because it really is binging like crazy. I want to thank people who have been also supporting us via the usual methods, but I also do notice, and this is a thing, that when you buy something from the store and we're live on commentary, you can put a store message in. That we have a lot. So that's an indication as well that the patches are already being bought on pre-order. Keep saying pre-order, Chris. And thank you for your support on that, because I do like the way of supporting us via the store, because you get something in the post in return. I've always liked that. I've always said it, that I think it's great that you get something physical from us for your support, which is what it is when you buy things from the store. But let me make sure this panel doesn't completely break with all this messaging coming in. Wow. Okay, there's a lot. Blackhawk NZ gifted 5 red team memberships. Thank you, Blackhawk. Russell Snodgrass, who always is a regular and always does these massive ones, at $100 super chat, which is bonkers. Thank you, Russell. Loved your attention and information on these streams. NSF coverage is second to none. Love the DAS updates. Thank you. And that is what people are getting confused with my pinned comment, Klingon coming. It's because we're doing different languages. I thought we'll do a Klingon one at some point, and I'm sure we can actually do that at some point. So thank you for your support, Russell. It's not the first time I've seen that. Absolutely not the first time I've seen that. You do it regularly. Thank you for your support. RC Horseman gifted 20. See, I didn't even read 20. RC Horseman gifted 20 red team memberships. And you're part of our moderation team, literally in chat right now with a wrench, and you went and did 20 gifted memberships at the same time. Bonkers. Thank you for your support. That is amazing. SpaceX Fan A, I don't know if I can read. It's meant to be a rude thing, but block 2, I can read that out as it's read, but I know what spelling you did with the block there. So I'll be very careful, because I know that's a bit of a controversy right now, isn't it? Well, anyway, thank you for your support. Yeah. Here we go with the star messages. I guarantee these are all patches. Tim, yay, new Starship Flight. RIP ship 26, best ship. Oh, that's Kevin McAreed happy. Thank you for your support, Tim. Jeremy, do good things. Thank you for your support. I can has, it says James. Samuel, love you guys. Can have. I'm happy to add patch 7 to my collection. The panel is broken. Jay, fix it. I'm clicking on stuff. It's broken.
Yes.
Yeah, the panel's broken. There we go. So we're going to move on to questions.
How long was that? About
5
3
minutes.
minutes?
Jay,
5 minutes?
fix it. That's what we say to him.
I take that win.
Yeah, I'm clicking on stuff. It's not happening. Right, 6-string simpleton. A 6-string simpleton. There we go. It's going to be a good stream this, so I'm not going to be able to last it. Do you think there will be a D-stack if the wet dress rehearsal goes well? Alex?
Well, we saw on the last flight, they did not do any D-stack until they actually did the hot staging in flight. So this could be the first and maybe the last stacking. Of course, we won't know for sure, right, until we actually get to launch day and it launches. But because, there could always be a surprise D-stack or even an unexpected one. Like maybe SpaceX may not plan on a D-stack, but then suddenly, because they see something that they need to fix or something like that, maybe they'll need a D-stack. We don't know right now, but the whole thinking is that perhaps we won't see a D-stack. We'll see. We can probably go also into the whole flight termination system stuff, but we also talk about that in the daily, if I'm not mistaken.
Kanan Copeland, who I see your name all the time, Kanan, you always ask good questions. Any good days for clear skies before flight? It would be sad not to get any good pictures of the stack before it's gone. The weather has been rough this week. It's been horrendous. So do we have a weather forecast for the coming days and for next week's for launch attempts?
Honestly, so I cannot go into completely every day detail, but until the end of next week, it kind of looks rough. We have some gaps every single day where it goes a bit better, then a bit worse. Of course, it's a multi-day forecast, so there's always things that could change, and there's definitely some windows in which you could see acceptable conditions. But overall, until the end of next week, it stays kinda this rough. So we'll see how the next few days look like, because that doesn't make it easier for them to find the right window.
Got a question here for Alex. By the way, we're watching it. It's now getting close to the top of the lift where it starts to rotate across. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. We'll just keep talking Q&A while we do that, because that's why most of you want us on commentary, is to ask questions and get answers. And Alex, we might have the answer to this one. How heavy is the empty booster?
That's a great question. It probably has changed over the multiple different vehicles that they have built of the booster. Right now, this is totally a guess based on some other previous vehicles, but they have added a bunch of extra mass in the form of filters for the engines, more stringers, and things like that. I will say probably around 250 tons. Probably. And I may even be low on the mass. It's a very heavy vehicle. Well, super heavy for a reason.
It's bonkers when you talk about that kind of mass, because you think empty stainless steel cylinder, it can't be like hundreds of tons. I've seen people guess at the weight before, the mass of it, and they've been talking like 20 tons and whatever, which still sounds like a lot. But it's such a big booster. It's a 20-story high building. And that's the context of it being caught, and the Raptors on the end.
Yeah, because I was going to bring that up, that, the Raptors, they're a little bit over a ton each. So if you've got 33 plus the shields and whatnot, you're adding about 70 tons of mass just with the engine section already. And then, of course, you have the steel of the structure, you have the grid fins, all of the valves, the stringers, the filters, the manifolds. You have a lot of hardware added to that too, right? So it's quite heavy. Again, and the name Super Heavy is there for a reason. And my guess is probably on the order of 250. Not quote me, don't quote me on this, to the kilogram or something like that. It's probably plus minus 30 tons or something like that, if I were to guess. We unfortunately don't know the exact number, but it's around that.
I gotta tell you, and this is not like a sales pitch. You know me, I'm too Yorkshire to do sort of like sales pitches and what have you. But the patch has gone bonkers. It really has gone bonkers. So again, on a stream of 4,000 people, this is a lot of people getting the patch. So I will say, you're definitely a hardcore audience, because you come in for the big events and all the events, and you're in Starbase Live. I've seen names in chat that I recognise just talking in Starbase Live when there's nothing going on. So I do recognise this is a hardcore audience, but wow. And you've broken the panel. You've broken the panel on the part where I can click on store messages. So I'm going to read out names here. I'm going to speed run names. So forgive me if I trip over my tongue. Tim, Jeremy, James, Samuel, Anonymous. You can do Anonymous, by the way. You don't have to put your name in there. Rick, Stephen, Anonymous. George, Kevin, John, Anonymous, Zach, Trent, Robert, Evan, Andy, Anonymous. Am I the first? Says Anonymous. No, you're not. You're about the 100th. Anonymous. Sean. Came up. Sean. You're a new Capcom member. Welcome. I can probably click on that one. Yes, I can. No. It's going a bit iffy. There you go. Shadow Gunner with a super chat. Assuming Starship survives Flight 8 re-entry, would it be a wish to attempt catch, not knowing speeds and how? Well, hang on, let's reread this, shall we? Assuming Starship survives Flight 8 re-entry. Okay. Would it be wise to attempt catch? Not knowing speeds and how it would arrive the first time. Well, isn't that what the water landings have been about, Alex?
Yeah, that's pretty much all they've been trying to do, right? Ever since they did the first re-entry with Ship 29, right? Remember Flight 4, the little flap that could, and that was that was just 6 kilometers off. But of course, when you want to come back to the launch site, you don't want to be 6 kilometers off. But for the first try, that was quite precise, I will say. And then flights 5 and 6, they got next to the buoy, right? So like that's very precise in my opinion. At the very least, to not avoid overflying, like landing in Brownsville or South Padre Island or something like that, right? That's at least precise enough to not have that kind of accident. I will guess that now they have Ship 33 as well to try it again on the ocean, and if for whatever reason they were to do Flight 8 and it's a bit off or whatever, maybe they could just do an abort to the Gulf, right? Like just try to dump it in the water and get away from people as far as they can, and that way we'll have to see, of course, how that pans out. But it's one of those things that I'm really interested to see how that works.
Yeah, I just saw something. I did an Alex there, didn't I? It wasn't even an update. Because I saw something I should have done. I'm too busy linking that multilingual daily. I should just do a Starlink, shouldn't I, to the patch? That makes more sense. Why didn't I think of that?
Oh, but let me quick mention some things here, because of course this patch is not only available as a patch, Chris. It's also available on t-shirts, hoodies, and stickers, and and a mug as well. So if you like that more, look at that. We have some other things there as well. Of course, now back with stickers since a few months, and people really love them. So we also updated our Starship patch 5.6 sticker sheet to now include 5, 6, and 7. And there's also a dedicated sticker sheet that only has 4 times this one. We have a mug, we have a hoodie, we have shirts. So everything you need.
Can you post a link that I can pin in chat in the back room so I can pin it? Because I think you'll have a collective link which will send people to not just the patch but also the merch. I think that makes sense. Oh, there it is.
You go.
Fast. Is that the right link?
I have it open. Yeah, it's if you click on it, it shows to all the products at the top.
All of them. Ah, that's clever. There we go.
Yes.
It's simple when you know how. Anonymous, Hunter, Johannes, Christopher, Mr. David, Anonymous, Dante, Wayne, Ed, Bernard, oh my God, Stuart, Darren, Shannon, Will, Tommy, Charles, Brandon. These are the people who've actually opted to put a message in as well. All of them just saying thanks. If I see a question in here, I will read it out, by the way. It's mainly people saying they've got all the patches so far, which is really good because we do sell out, and that's probably a big point to bring out as well. I'll quickly do an update, and I'll go back to that. The update is they've now rotated across, and they are now lining up with Booster 14. So Ship 33 is going to be lowered very, very slowly at this point. This will take a while, so we're not ignoring it. We know from experience it takes a while. They're going to lower it onto the hot staging ring of Booster 14, and that's when it'll have full mate. And it'd be something to look forward to is where there's a vent line. Alex, what's the line called where it lines up?
That's the engine chill, but it will not be on this one, if I'm not mistaken, because they changed that for Block 2.
So we won't get that indication. I was looking, that's one of our fun things where it lines up, because sometimes they're bringing them down and not fully lined up, and then it clunks into place almost. Oh, that's a shame. Anyway, not really a shame. I'm sure they know what they're doing. Right, so
people.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Long this did a massive super chat. I want to make sure I read this out. Amazing. My uncle was a project manager at JPL and boosted my fascination with space. Is JPL still relevant in space exploration? Absolutely. Who wants to take that? Because they are up to all sorts of things in JPL, aren't they? Adrian, do you want to talk about JPL?
Absolutely, and yes, JPL is very much relevant. For example, I've seen the huge success of the Ingenuity helicopter recently on Mars. And of course, in general, interplanetary exploration usually is led by JPLs and JPL projects. So yes, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory is basically involved in every single bigger NASA science missions. Of course, NASA's Mars Perseverance rover was a JPL product. There's all kinds of different science projects involved. I would still call them probably the most relevant science institute of NASA. Like, they're everywhere.
Yep. Ever since I started covering this properly during the Space Shuttle program, hey, there we go. I mentioned shuttle. Bingo. Shuttle mention's been made. JPL were doing their rovers. I mean, this is before Curiosity and Ingenuity. This goes back to the early rovers, the Pathfinder, and all that business. So they've always been involved in what has been the roadmap to Mars. Not just Mars, of course, but that was probably the flagship missions. And it really has been an impressive thing. I'm not going to be able to read out every single person. It's that many messages in the panel from the store.
Yep.
I am not going to be able to read everyone out.
Oh, they have just eaten through 10% of our patch stock.
Oh, that's what I was going to mention, Adrian. The fact is, when people said they got the full collection, they've been fast on the trigger because we can only get so many in one go. We can't order another few hundred if we run out. So once they're gone, they're gone. That is not a sales tactic either, and we can prove it because people go, oh yeah, probably just saying that, they'll get some more in just to create some sales. No, you can tell from the patches that are no longer available, we didn't get any more in. We didn't do it because we can't. So once they're gone, and that's 10% gone already on a relatively small stream. Oh my word.
Yep.
Right, I'm going to speed run some names and go back to questions. Alex, interrupt me if you see something of interest.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on. Breaking news. We have a Jack Bayer in the house. Hello, Jack.
Can you hear me okay?
Just about, yes.
Were we talking about JPL right then?
We were.
I just want to say shout out to everybody in the Los Angeles area who is dealing with the fires right now. I know JPL itself has been threatened by one of the several fires that are burning. So all of my West Coast fam, my heart goes out to you right now. Hopefully JPL is okay. I haven't really been on the net at all today because I've been driving around trying to take photos of this cool new ship that we have here. So I don't even know how it's going, but hopefully it's going okay for JPL with the crazy fires that are happening. Anyways, bye, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Bye, Jack. Hi, Jack. Bye, Jack. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, JPL Pasadena. I know it's Pasadena, California, but I didn't realize it was that close to the disaster that's going on in Los Angeles. Wow. I mean, it really is bad. I mean, it's all over the news.
They have been, to my knowledge, the JPL, like the building has been, is no longer accessible right now, and they have been starting the area, like the area is part of the evacuation area. That's the last update I got from JPL.
Yeah, all the best wishes to everybody involved in that, especially the firefighters who are putting their lives at risk to deal with it. I think it always gets mentioned, and rightly so, but I'm going to mention it myself there because they're the ones at the business end trying to contain this, and it can't be easy at all. Speedrun time. Are we ready? Long this, Ellie Mary, Ralph, Martin got back Monkers in different minds. I think it was the same one. Yes, it's Martin VE2 MRX, same person. Brigham, Randall, Michael, Marco. Oh my word, so many people have got so much stuff here. These are star messages, by the way, I'm reading out. Josh, Lawrence. By the way, you're all saying things like, I'm going to read out Marco's. Thanks, NSF, for all the work. You guys awakened my inner rocket nerd in me, and it's the best thing that has happened to me. Also planning on seeing Starship launch this year, my first ever. Awesome, I love that. That's a great, I'm glad I didn't skip past that because that is a great message. And also, you're probably going to get many opportunities. I can take that thanks message and use it as a question. Alex, how many launches do you think Starship will launch this year?
This year, somewhere between 10 and 12. They are aiming for 25. I don't see that, but I do see them maybe, doubling or maybe tripling what they did in 24. So from 4 maybe to 10 to 12 launches.
Chat knows already what I'm going to do here. I'm going to ask chat to ask how many launches do you think will launch this year? So go for it, chat. I'll be watching, and I'll ask Adrian. Adrian, how many times do you think Starship will launch in 2025?
10. I think about 10. I would not. I think right now, if we look at the timing for this one, we are probably talking about the next one somewhere in the mid to late February range. I do not think it will be like end of January or something, or like very early February. That's based on the fact that they still need to static fire a booster, and that the fact that this has not even lifted up, that would be kind of close. So if you like assume at the beginning of the year they might be on a pace of like once every 2 months ish, and then get it down to once every 1 month very soon, and also get reusability in play, then we are probably talking about somewhere in the 10 range.
Just to get a little bit hyped, the video, I think it's the Flight 6 highlights, is playing on the left-hand side from Ryan.
Yes.
I mean, I've asked chat to just go through with their. I've been reading them as well, by the way, and I see the highest I saw was 20. I've seen some silly ones, but 20 was fair enough. Like, you know, it's within the range of what SpaceX is saying. But the hype now, is everybody getting really hyped about this? Because potentially net Monday for the launch of Flight 7. But the question is, will you ever get bored? It's probably the terrible question to ask a hardcore audience, because I think most people will say no. Will you ever get bored by this vehicle? Because I'd still, to this day, love the Falcon 9 booster landings on the drone ships. I still find them fascinating. And it's been hundreds of times now, and it's just never going to lose its fascination. Now imagine this thing, the world's biggest, most powerful rocket ever, and both the booster and the ship being caught by the launch tower. I mean, it could be hundreds, 200s, 300s time. I'll still find that fascinating. Chat, join in with me. Am I a crazy person who just loves rockets too much? Or do you agree? I'm going to ask Alex. Alex, do you agree?
Oh, it never gets old. I still feel the goosebumps when the Falcon 9, you know, with just one engine and whatnot, like it lands on the drone ship. It's still fun. It's still exciting, and you know, it's not gonna get old with super heavy, because that's always gonna be an RTLS. You know.
Yep.
Pending other different developments in the future, I guess. But so far, it's gonna be an RTLS every single time that it launches. That's punk.
Adrian?
Yeah, I agree. I think
that sounded. Hang on a minute, Adrian. That sounded a little bit.
No, I'm. The thing is, people always think I'm this. Like I'm. When I sound like this, it's because I think about it. It's not because I'm. It's not because I'm disagreeing. I'm just thinking about how I see it like in 5 years. But to be fair, Falcon 9 now is very much past its 5 years, and we still get thousands of people watching every single Starlink, right?
Yes.
Like that's just a fact. So we are not past that phase for Falcon 9 yet, and I only think the future will be more exciting. Like we have moon missions, we have Mars missions coming up, we have all kinds of these more groundbreaking space explorations phases are coming up. So honestly, I don't think Starship will get like boring or standard anytime soon. And to be fair, Starship won't be the last rocket ever developed. So at some point, I'm just calling it, at some point SpaceX will either develop a major iteration of Starship or the next generation rocket after this, and we can cover that just as we cover Starship right now. Like there will be more development. There could be a 12-meter ship, right? There could be a huge diameter change. There could be way different things. So you never know.
Yeah, chat's all agreeing with this, apart from one person who agreed with that I'm crazy. Thank you. I do appreciate that. You're not too far wrong. Right, status check questions and a back to speed run of these support, because the panel is officially broken, but it is putting them up there. Just can't put them on screen. The ship is coming down now. This is the slow part. We did warn you this part will be very slow for obvious reasons. They want to get this lined up perfectly, and they do not want to damage anything. This is the point where you could do some damage. And this is testament to the Chopsticks, by the way, because the Chopsticks are bringing this down extremely slowly. You can see the drone on the right-hand side there with a very close-up view that the controllers in the. Where are they, Alex? Where's the chopstick controller? Do we know? We've never really seen it, have we?
It's probably at one of the control centers. They have multiple rooms at Starbase. From the Astra launch control center, they also have in one of the mega base. I think they also have some rooms as well. I don't know exactly where because unfortunately SpaceX doesn't talk about that. But we do know that there are multiple rooms and centers around Starbase that are able to actuate most of these things. I do not think though is some guy on a joystick or anything like it, but it's probably that there's like a set of automated commands that need to be approved every time, because we see that especially with boosters it's a lot more like with the boosters you can see those movements are a little bit more pre-programmed, so to speak, but in between there's usually like pauses as if you need some kind of human in the loop saying, okay, you did good, now go to the next step. And then there's like maybe another button, or they click on a command approval or something like that. We don't know, right? But it kind of looks like it, at least by the behavior of Chopstick system.
Very good. Yeah, I was hoping to potentially. I'm not American, so I wouldn't get into SpaceX. Be saying to someone who, look, I'm very good on the PS5. Do you want to ever go to Chopsticks, please, Elon? Thanks, Elon. Yeah, and then suddenly we'll hear there's a delay to Flight 7 because Chris banged the ship on top of the booster too hard. There we go. I always like to make sure that if you ask a question, it absolutely does not have to be a super chat. This is something I insist on and something we all work to. So I'm going to go through just some questions in the panel because you're all very much appreciated. You could be on here, you could be just the first time you're here or being here all the time. You do not have to super chat. We make sure you're all looked after because it's a collective 3,600 people, 3,700 people in there right now that makes this work. If it was a member-only stream, it wouldn't work, would it? So there we go. I want to say, a question from Gina G. At this exact moment, if you had to make a bet on which giant rocket launches first, which would it be? So it's either going to be New Glenn on Sunday now, isn't it, Adrian? Or Starship on Monday currently?
Yeah, right now, New Glenn is, how to say, like exactly like that, but in the driving seat. Because technically New Glenn right now launches 35 no, a bit more, almost 40-ish before Starship. But of course, that can change. A New Glenn is a rocket that will fly for the first time. There's a non-zero chance that will create problems and that will create some scrubs. There's but also not a non-zero chance that it just goes. Like, we have seen that in the past where we thought, oh, that rocket will scrap 5 times before it launches, and then it didn't. Look at Falcon Heavy.
That covered about 5 questions in the panel there, because they're all asking about when the launches will be. The caveat being that there may be scrubs, especially with New Glenn. It's a brand new rocket. I was going to say potentially with Starship, but I was the person who, like a numpty, said ahead of Flight 1, expect this brand new rocket to scrub multiple times before it launches. And it only scrubbed once on Flight 1 and has not scrubbed since its launch first time, which is a really good indication that it'd be a great rocket for rapid reusability, which is what the whole goal of this rocket is. So that is something encouraging. That, yes?
You want to hear something that is, I think, the coolest thing ever?
Depends.
Ooh.
While Starship is being stacked, which is the biggest rocket of all time, one of the other almost biggest rocket of all time is being raised vertical right now. New Glenn is going up as well. So we have both huge rockets being prepared for their flight. There it is. Being prepared for their flight at this single same moment.
Ooh, it's starting to peek out of the hangar.
I take a screenshot and put this on X, the everything up.
That's incredible. Like, what a time to be a rocket fan, right? Two of the most enormous rockets we have ever seen are being prepared to launch at the very single same moment. It's
right.
Honestly crazy.
I'm going to find a question for you both and do a screenshot and mention that on X.
I believe, Chris, we're preparing a better shot, so maybe you want to wait for that one.
Hold.
Look at that.
Hold.
That one. What about
Look at that.
Oh, there we go. That's the shot. Is that Max? Are we thanking Max Evans in the field for this?
We are very much
Yes.
thanking Max Evans in the field.
There we go. Max Evans in the field. A literal field, by the way. It literally is. The way they set up is incredible. They've got like a desk, portable desk, and a chair that Max chases D around with. I've seen that. I have seen the video. Did we ever release that video live on a stream?
No, we didn't.
We should.
Memories
Oh.
exclusive.
I've now piqued enough people's interest that we have to. I see Max is typing.
Thanks.
Why are we mentioning this? There we go. Look, I'm going to speedrun, but I'm going to have to speedrun because this panel will break if I don't. Marco, Josh, Lawrence, Catlin, Trotty, Matt, William, Billy, David, Sharon, Karen, Krista, Jonathan, Mitcher, Anonymous, Nicole, Paul, Brent, Ethan, Alison, Anonymous, Keith, Anonymous, John, Anonymous. These are different people, by the way, not their surnames. Stephen, Jaden, Dustin, Robert, Patrick. There's so many. I'm never gonna go through them all. Please accept my apologies. That I would love to click on each one, read your name out, read your message out, but there are hundreds. There are literally hundreds of store messages from people who've got the patch 7, which is bonkers. Thank you for your support. Trust me, you have my appreciation. You have all our appreciation for your support. I really wish, I'm feeling quite bad. I really wish I could read everyone's name out, but there are hundreds and there are so many. I'm going to quickly go through some super chats because they're the ones I can see that are quite obvious and I can click on those. Josh Zero says, what would you think? Hang on. Would you think would launch in bad weather to strain Starship in a test? Right, okay, I get the idea. Josh is asking if the weather is pretty iffy on Monday, on launch day, say winds or something like that, would SpaceX want to test the tolerances of what Starship can launch in, Alex?
Well, remember the booster also has to land, so that that becomes a little bit iffy, I guess. Also for the booster landing as well, like the weather needs to be good enough for the launch, but also the landing, because it's coming back for landing at the launch site. So I don't know. I guess it's probably too early to do that kind of stuff, but also at the same time, it is also too early to probably do that kind of stuff. It's kind of intriguing. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure if they will risk it though. They probably want a clean weather to get as clean of a data as they.
I'm also going to make sure that I do some. I'm trying to do 3 things at once here, which is never easy. And Russell, will you behave yourself? You do enough support as it is, and you've got another. I've just seen it calling my eye. Another $100 super chat. Please behave yourself. Honestly, we're getting enough support as it is from the store.
Yeah,
You don't need to
Chris
do
is
it.
being overloaded right now.
I am. It's a nice problem to have, I must admit, because trust me, this whole operations we do on multiple sites with land we've literally purchased around the launch sites. It is bonkers, right? It really is. It's a lot of money. And there's absolutely no way we could have self-funded this. Zero chance we could have self-funded this without your support. All your support goes back into what you're seeing. Literally. A person who started NSF, I can tell you that hand on heart, I could be put on a polygraph machine and you can ask me that question and I'd say, yes, that's how it's happened. And you'd go, he's not lying. There we go.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And I also, the amount of people like getting these 2 shots right now, on the right side Starship, on the left side New Glenn, the amount of people that have worked and are working right now to deliver this is insane. Like, this is basically kind of like the whole team in full force right now, delivering all of this. And we not only have amazing things about Starship planned next week, I can also say it to you, we have things planned for New Glenn. Like, there will be some, hopefully, very, very cool coverage of this rocket flying for the first time. And we also have some cool commentators. It's gonna be amazing, I think. I think we have some very, very good things planned for the next 7 days.
Really is. And this is an amazing thing because I say it every time to the point that I might sound like I'm repeating myself, but you get a lot of new people come in and different streams and they may not have heard this answer before. But New Glenn is not like a Falcon 9. I've heard
No.
it so many times. People say, "Oh, that's Blue Origin's Falcon 9 version, isn't it?" It's much bigger. It's almost the size of a Saturn V. These are two. I mean, would you class? This is a good question here. Would you class Starship as a super heavy launch vehicle, and would you class New Glenn as a heavy launch vehicle, or would you class them both as super heavy?
Technically, I think New Glenn is a heavy launch vehicle, and like there are some technical grab borders. If you want to compare New Glenn to a rocket, it's very I think the closest rocket to compare it to would be Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy is somewhere in the same performance spectrum. Of course, New Glenn is not as optimized yet as a Falcon Heavy is, or a Falcon family, but somewhere in that performance we are talking about it. It's a 7-meter diameter rocket, 98 meters tall. It's a huge rocket. And the Pad 36 always makes it seem small because these towers there are the tallest launch towers in the world, if I'm not completely mistaken. So this is what you see on the left is the tallest launch pad in the world.
Oh, because I know that the Pad 39A lightning protection system towers, does that count? Are 600 feet tall.
I think if we talk like lightning protection system, there might be some taller, but like at the main launch integrate or like the launch tower is the biggest launch tower in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Harry, I know you're in chat, so we will help.
The reason why I wanted to bring up 39B's towers was because they were built for silly rocket Ares, and they just kept them for SLS. They literally just kept the same towers. They were designed for the Constellation program, and they were at the time. I just remember at the time NASA was saying this is the tallest structures we built at a pad ever, and I was trying to compare it with what's been built since, because the ones at LC36 are impressive, I must admit, and it's a different kind of design. You've got one absolute lightning protection tower, and then one which serves as a lightning protection tower, but it's actually an actual tower, isn't it? So it's a fascinating build-up they've designed there at Blue's 36.
Okay, technically the 39B towers are 25 foot taller if you count the lightning protection. 36 has 575 foot tall towers.
I'll put a picture of Ares 1X on here.
Oh no.
No. Ryan, stop putting hearts on that silly rocket. It's kind of gone wrong though, because look, the top of the heart has been cut off by the insert.
It looks
Ryan.
more like it looks more like an actual heart than like the stylized heart.
Oh no, he's writing now. Whoops. Oh dear. They go mad with power. They start producing and they realise they've got all these special tools and they go mad with power. No, there's a small heart. Oh, bless. Look at the pad, by the way. That still had the rotating service structure from the Space Shuttle program still there. There we go. I got to mention something. Justin has done a $100 tip. Break the Chris B fund. I'm already broken, Justin, so thank you.
Yes.
Again, I can't. I wish I could Bandicam or OBS the panel, because people might think I'm just talking nonsense and maybe sounding like I'm trying to drum up interest. I'm not. Anyone can back me up here. We've got access to the panel. The panel is full of store messages to the point it's taking me a minute to scroll through it all. And I'm quite a fast scroller. Fast scroller? That's almost a claim to fame. Let's go back to Starship, by the way, because it's looking like it's almost down. Alex, you've watched this enough times. Oh, Adrian's going to talk first. So, Adrian, you've seen this enough times, as I have. Is it down?
Alex will probably know it better, but I think there's one final jump before it is down.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have all of the assets that I usually have, so I'm not able to look carefully at all of the feeds as usual. So I was not able to see that usual bump that we see when they finally position the ship.
I don't think it's down yet.
It's not down yet from your view?
It does not look down yet from my view. It's real close, but I still feel like I see a gap in between the hot stage ring and the very bottom of the ship. It's like, one of those times where they get it within an inch or a couple centimeters or something and then just wait or get it perfectly aligned or what have you.
Well, there you have it, folks. Live from the field.
I've just seen a very good question that I've just asked Mr. Ryan Caton to stop putting hearts on Ares 1X, and if you could do as the emoji, which I'll then upload into YouTube's chat, that you members can put the emojis, because they've got the emojis from patch 1 to 6, but the emoji for patch 7 has not yet been done. So we're working on that. We'll get it done. I don't know how fast it can be done, but that will be done. Trust me. He's busy right now. He's producing the stream. Of course he is. Well, you were putting hearts on Ares 1X. I thought he's got time. But there we go. So yeah, we'll get that done. It'll be done.
I'm still so amazed by we could have not timed this better. Like, these two rockets getting ready to launch at the same time. This is as if SpaceX and Blue Origin talked with each other and they're like, yeah, let's break the rocket world. Let's do it at the same time. This is... I'm nerding out here a bit, but it's absolutely cool to see, and I'm just speechless at the view of both of these rockets going up at the same time. It's so amazing.
Relevant to this view, I did see a lot of people asking about a new Glenn patch. Now, obviously, there's no way we can turn one round for this maiden flight, but maybe there might be an interesting launch of this rocket. Remember, it does have an HLS contract. It's not just SpaceX, yes. They also have a HLS contract. Maybe we could do a patch for a big mission for New Glenn, because there seems to be quite a lot of demand for it.
Yeah, I have to say, as you said before, as a New Glenn fan here, I'm very positively surprised by the amount of interest that New Glenn is getting right now, because it seemed that it didn't until very recently. People are like, oh, they're doing, now it has... really picked up and people are really interested in it. So yeah, we need to probably adjust that. Of course, there is we have a BE4 shirt in our engine collection. Like BE4, that's all available.
Yeah, these two are the Artemis launchers, I guess, also with SLS and whatnot. But you've got New Glenn. They're going to be launching all of those. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the B4 merge. But yeah, the New Glenn will launch the pieces for the Blue Moon lander, right? Or HLS. And Starship will also be the human landing system. So these are the two human landing system rockets. And one thing, Adrian, one of the first few flights of New Glenn, if I'm not mistaken, they're trying to land their own sort of subscale version of their Blue Moon lander, right? Maybe we can do a patch about that.
Yeah, I like that. Go on, Adrian.
But no, I mean, we are in the year where both Artemis lander potentially debut their Pathfinder to the moon, right? Because both Starship has the plan to at some point bring a Pathfinder, some sort of demo article HLS to the moon, and also the Blue Origin has the plan to launch their Pathfinder Mission 1. Which is one of two test missions they want to do to validate the HLS Lunar module. So they're both working on it, and to my knowledge, Blue even has two planned missions. They want to launch Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2 in theory this year. So lots of HLS stuff coming, and this is 2025 might be the year where Artemis really kicks into gear.
Matrix brings up something that I should have brought up when we mentioned the patches. Please make sure your shipping address is correct. He put it in inverted commas. Yeah, that is something which we don't blame people for, because a lot of people have autofill on their phones, and when they move house, they forget to update it. Just make sure before you check out that the address has been updated to the right one, because it's very hard to change it once you've ordered it. So just make sure you do that, because that is just a little step to watch out for. It is understandable because of the way autofill works these days. I've been guilty of myself, so no blames involved there, but that's a nice little step just to check to avoid problems. Also, Jen asks, why is there red and white stars on the patch? Adrian?
We have started that tradition, I think, even before patch 1. I think the first merge that had this was the... we had a Starship like a swooshy shirt, where there was a form of a starship going up, and that had the moon and Mars. It was, I think, the Destination Known shirt. And since then, we have added the moon and Mars on multiple designs. Not only the patches, but others. It's kind of become a bit of an Easter egg. that we sometimes include and merge if deems fitting. We have also a different version on that. For example, the Mars sweater for Christmas that we had has a little blue dot on there to represent Earth. So there's there's all kinds of different minor Easter eggs we sometimes include on merge. We really care about it.
I'm going to try and speedrun as many questions as I possibly can because the support from the story is amazing. By the way, thank you to everybody. I can't read them all out. There's just hundreds. There is hundreds, but I want to make sure we do questions as well. John W asks, did they install the FTS on ship already, Alex?
That is a great question. We think they did that in the Mega Bay, and we talk about this on the latest Starbase summary, where we saw a plaque that is usually used for when there are explosives nearby, right? And so we think, in theory, right, and guesses here, because we have no confirmation yet, that they already installed the flight termination system at the Mega Bay 2. The trick and the way to actually know if this is, if this theory is correct is if for whatever reason we don't see any work on the flight termination system from here to launch, then of course it'll probably have been already installed in the Mega Bay 2. But that's more or less what we think right now.
Very good. We have a lot of questions about the Starlinks, or we call them dumb links, which is not derogatory. It's because they are not working satellites. They're Starlink simulators. There's 10 of them on board Ship 33 that will be deployed during Flight 7. I personally hope there's cameras on them because I'd love to see a view. This was mentioned in the Raptor side. Somebody wanted to see the view of ship from the Starlinks after they've been deployed. That would be an amazing shot, seeing Starship in space from the viewpoint of the deployed Starlinks. But lots of questions. I'm going to try and summarize many of them. ChrisNet's an example. If payload deployment goes well, do you think we'll see actual Starlinks on the first orbital flight, or which flight will that be? Alex, I'll give that to you first.
I think there's a good chance that the first orbital flight of Starship, it is indeed carrying Starlinks, because they're already carrying Starlinks, and well, it's dumb links, right? or sim links, or whatever like that, right? They are dummy Starlinks, not real Starlinks, but they're already carrying that, and it's a suborbital flight, right? So it's like, yeah, it why not? Let's try everything. They're already trying a lot of things, even when it is suborbital. I think there's a good chance that maybe the first orbital flight will be carrying Starlinks on board.
Luckily, Kevin Michael Reed is helping out here by cycling through the panel to just put the source support onto the screen. So hopefully you get to see your name on there. As I mentioned, there is too many to read out. We'll be here all night reading them out. I wouldn't mind doing that, by the way, but it would be quite a boring stream. So I want to make sure we just digress it through to questions, because that's the main point of going commentary. I do have a store question that it's almost store praise for you, Adrian. Here, Interspace says, "Damn, that was smart on the patch. V11 for V2 ship, but V11 is also 7 in Roman numerals. Did you know that would work for both Block 2 as a V2 and also for Flight 7, Adrian?"
It was part of the idea, yes. But of course, I have to I wouldn't say it was. I was aware that it could be played like that, but the Roman numerals is something that we have used all the time. So it's more a coincidence by the design. I was kind of happy with that could happen, but it's not like something we changed based on this patch. We have always used the Roman numerals.
I like this question too from a sanity check, who asks, what is the chance of recovery of Starship from the ocean given it's a new block? Now, that is something where we've seen them tipple over and go a little bit boom, and they've almost wanted that to happen so it'd sink. But we have seen ocean-based assets collecting in the area of the splashdown zone. That might indicate they want to get this one back, Alex. Is that right?
It could be. If you saw the recap of Flight 6, right? At least the aft section of the ship was a bit more intact for longer than we thought. They had a drone, they had boats in the area, so maybe they'll try to get it back. We'll see, right? Like, depends on how intact that vehicle is after a splashdown. Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. The only Angie asks, do you have a timeline for the anticipated second orbital launch mount? Right. We've been following that one very closely. It's currently at the Sanchez site, down the road near the production site at Starbase, and it has been, they're working on it endlessly to the point now it's quite a big structure. It's hard to know exactly how much more they've got to do on it. They did put a fun banner on it called the Penthouse Apartments because it does look like a building now, it's so large. But it is something that they want to get at Pad B before long, because once Pad B is operational, then work on modifying Pad A to have the same system, and indeed at 39A that will get another orbital launch mount as well. Have we seen any signs of the 39A orbital launch mount for the new version? Because we've seen the old version that's going to get scrapped, but we've not seen any signs of build up for the new one yet. But we've seen tents, haven't we, Alex?
We have seen parts actually for the OLM 439A. We covered that on the latest flyover. One will be coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. And definitely, very exciting to see if, in this new flyover that we're going to be making, if they're going to be, doing, like, if there's more parts, if they're already putting it together. Now they have they have there at Roberts Road at the Kennedy Space Center a dedicated tent for that. But, it's one of these that roll in and out, and so maybe we can have a bit of luck and be able to spot it through some of the gaps and everything. We'll definitely try and get as many angles as we can next time we fly.
I'm going to ask if Jack is still listening and on communications, because I've got a question that Jack will be able to answer. I'll ask it anyway, and Jack can join in if he's able to. I don't know if he can, but we'll try. Six-String Simpleton asks, I keep saying that name wrong, no, Six-String Simpleton. It is a tongue twister, to be fair. Are people allowed across Highway 4 during a lift? Because we know the road isn't closed during a lift, but I'm sure there is an area which you can't pass. So how close can you get to this stack when I can see Jack's unmuted. Well, how close can you get to the stack when doing a full stack like this, Jack? We might not have Jack's voice coming through. But that was understandable.
No.
It was a bit mean of me to give Jack a question, not knowing he's out there in the field next to this vehicle and the communications. But we'll see if Jack tells us in chat. Maybe you could type it, Jack, if there's any kind of restrictions during a lift, or if it's just like every day where it's just basically don't enter the parts where it's SpaceX property, maybe. But yeah, that probably does. The latter probably make more sense to me. Neil asks, with the extra height of Starship on this version, are the chopsticks at the lift height compared? Well, hang on, let's read that again. It's my eyesight, not your question, Neil. With the extra height of the Starship on this version, are the chopsticks at a lift height compared to under the flaps of the V1? So, Block 1, Block 2. Is there any difference, Adrian?
Yeah, there's so you can see the chopsticks are a bit lower on the ship versus on previous lifts, and that's because they are kind of on the same height they were always, because we're kind of approaching the point where the chopsticks cannot just go any higher and lift any higher. So yeah, the lifting system is kind of on the same height as on previous flights, but the ship is just taller. So basically, this is, now that it's kind of stacked, the tallest rocket of all time, right?
Yeah, although I think the lifting points are 2 rings lower and the ship is 1 ring taller, right? I think it's more or less like that. So simple math says that maybe it's actually lower than on previous ships. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I think it's actually lower than on the previous ships, just because when they moved it down, it was not by the same amount that the ship got longer. So I think it's actually lower. Is this?
Hey.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
look at that. But yeah, we need to see it fully stacked, right? That will be probably the shot.
Yeah, I think we are very close to touchdown, and I think New Glenn is also very close to vertical. We are finishing we are getting closing in a bit closer and closer to the super crazy rockets going vertical and being ready night.
And just quick, sort of like going back to the whole thing about lifting. They're lifting it through the same sockets that they have on the ship that they've been using for a long time. They're not using the new catching points or anything. Those are not even structural. They're just bolted on, and they are not really like, you know, if they wanted or tried to lift the ship through those, they will snap off because they are not structural. They're just bolted onto the hull of the ship, but it is not actually, you know, there's no hard point connection or truss or anything like it. They cannot carry any load.
Yep, it's basically just a aerodynamic dummy to call it like that. They just want to find out how the aerodynamics and everything interact with these pins before they actually make them structural.
Alex, JB asks, will the ascent be slower than previous flights considering it's a bigger ship with more propellant and also with a payload?
I guess it'll depend, right? Will they fill it up entirely? We don't know, right? It's one of the things that we'll find out on launch day.
Will they throttle up the Raptors all the way to 100% or just to like 90 or so? We have seen in the past that they sometimes don't even throttle the Raptors all the way up.
Yeah, the timeline does show that maybe the ship will burn for a little longer, but it's also a little bit heavier, right? So, like, maybe that compensates. We'll see.
I think it's hard to finally say, but from what we have suspected, there might be some juice in these Raptors left that they have not used yet on liftoff.
Eric Palmer asks, on booster return, do we know if booster locates between the chopsticks by GPS or is it radar involved?
I don't think we know, unfortunately.
Because I know that there's some conjecture about this. I don't know if it's both issues, but the reason why Flight 6 Booster 13 did not did an ocean divert was because of communication between the tower and the booster, but also I think there was some information related to the chopstick sensors themselves as well. Maybe I'm mixing the two things up there, or it was both issues. Alex, do you know what it really was? With the official reason for why they did the ocean divert?
They mentioned on the Flight 7, you know, all of the summary on their website, something along the lines of like protecting sensors on the tower that prevented the landing of the booster, right? On Flight 6. I'm not sure, you know, what kind of sensors. It could be even something like the weight sensor when the booster is landed on the chopsticks to command the shutdown, for example. Like, we really don't know what kind of sensors, what kind of stuff they use. For Falcon 9, we kind of know a bit more because they've talked about that. And I mean, it's a program that's been already more than 10 years since they've tried the first landing of a Falcon 9 booster. So we have had plenty of comments by many officials at SpaceX on more or less, you know, we've been able to piece it together. Like, for example, they use a radar altimeter on the octaweb to precisely know what's the altitude of the booster relative to the drone ship or the landing pad, depending on where it's coming down. They have a GPS system as well. The booster targets that GPS coordinate and it goes there. Like, that kind of stuff we know for Falcon 9. For Super Heavy, we really don't know the full way of how that works, really. Obviously, there must be some kind of maybe communication between tower and booster. We just don't know how it actually all works together. Of course, that's their secret sauce.
Speaking of Booster 12, which was the first one to be caught, what's happening to Booster 12? It's now being rolled into Mega Bay 1. Do you think SpaceX will scrap it, which will cause a riot? Or is it for any other reason, potentially, Adrian?
Yeah, I think they will scrap it. SpaceX has shown little mercy to any previous flight prototypes, even if they survived. Looking at you, SN15. Yeah, I think SpaceX has just literally no mercy with these. Once they don't need them anymore, they just scrap it. Hopper seems to be the one exception here that just gets to survive. But I think we will see the end of Booster 12 here.
It's Booster 12 on the time lapse, making its way almost like with I don't want to say the word Death March. It is a song into Mega Bay 1. Hopefully, I'm hoping against hope that they do have some sentimentality about this, because it is the first Corp booster, and like the first Falcon booster that successfully landed, that's now on display at Hawthorne. Why would they just scrap Booster 12? It's historic. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too sentimental.
One of the things that we think might happen is that they're probably, because Booster 12 is in one of the fancy new booster transport stands, right? What they might be doing, because they also brought B14.1, the sort of the stubby booster kind of looking tank, right? And they have taken off that test tank out of its transport stand. We think maybe perhaps this is not for scrapping Booster 12, but maybe what they're doing is that they're taking it off from its new fancy booster transport stand, and they're putting it on the stand that the B14.1 test tank was, which is the old style booster transport stand, which no booster no longer uses. And so that way they can use that older, newer, fancier transport stand for newer boosters that will probably need more than a already flight proven vehicle.
Cool.
That's our theory.
Should we do a status check on Flight 7's
Yes.
stack of Ship 33 and Booster 14? I think it's down.
I would agree with that sentiment. I think it's down. It has not moved for a significant amount of time. And I think it's down. And on the New Glenn front, I have to say that in the past we have seen that New Glenn will hold at the position it is right now for a significant period of time. That's probably the position where it is like they're getting ready to integrate all the pipes and all the the connects. So this might be a situation where both rockets are kinda in a position. Well, is New Glenn moving again? I'm just trying to A/B test. I think New Glenn is moving a bit again. But of course, that doesn't mean you cannot watch this anymore. Even after we will start to shut this down, both rockets will still be visible. Of course, one on Starbase Live and one on Space Coast Live. So you can have them both open all night and watch the biggest, two of the biggest rockets of all time just chilling out.
It's going to get to a point, and I know SLS has got its long-term longevity in question, especially due to the changes in administration and government, but there's every potential that we're going to see SLS, New Glenn and Starship on a pad at the same time, and then we'll do a three-way split screen with our cameras, because we've got the views of all these pads, and then we'll have a real screenshot to show, won't we? SLS,
Yes.
New Glenn and Starship at the same time, live on pads, ready for launches. That's very much a potential thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, I hope one of our photographers will get an amazing this pad shot that we get from, and we can have that as a metal print, because that will be one of the most epic metal prints of all time. And I think there will be some attempts of producing that shot. Oh, Max already saying that would be bucket list stuff. So I think if we ever get to that point, there's a good chance that might end up as a metal print in the store. Can I say that, Max? Is that allowed to say?
I think so.
There we go.
Max on stream. How did that happen? That's magic of
Yes,
technology.
hello. I just
It's
joined to
Max.
listen in, but hi everybody.
Say hello to Max,
Hello.
chat.
Thanks for rolling out there to give us some New Glenn action.
Speaking of which, I did see a question. I'm going to read it out. New Glenn and Starship are expected to launch the same day. Well, I get the idea. It's very close together. That's fair enough. Will you do a 20-hour marathon if this happens? No, what we'll do is we'll do separate streams, won't we, Adrian? You'll be able to answer that question because you schedule these streams. We'll do a standalone. Oh, hang on. You're thinking about this now, are you?
So if New Glenn slips, let me play some. The worst thing that could happen is, let me play this in my calendar. So if New Glenn slips one more day, our end of our New Glenn coverage would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours between Starship going live. The worst thing that could happen is if New Glenn actually slips 2 days, because then they would be very close to each other. So Let's hope that doesn't happen. That would be very much preferred. But even if it happens, we would make it work. Like we would find a way to stream both, and we'll cover it. Like that's no question at all. We have teams in Boca. We have teams at the Cape. Somehow we will make it work.
Also, we did get a question I can answer straight away. Kirk Wagner asks, both Starship and New Glenn, do you think for some reason SpaceX is required to wait for New Glenn? No. They're not the same launch sites. Go on, Adrian, I know you want to talk about it. I can hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, they are very different launch sites. They are very different ranges. I don't think they're in any way, shape, or form have like some sort of relation on if they can launch or not. Yeah, that's the answer. They New Glenn probably cares more about the Starlinks that happen at the Cape than about Starship in Boca Chica.
Do you think though, don't they normally use some of the assets at the Cape when Starship gets close? Obviously, since they are not launching anywhere near the same time, I would like to think that maybe if they were, they could probably be impacting each other. I don't know, because I don't know how many assets they actually use. Yes, Ryan, we're seeing that. Yes, but
Very
also
tidy.
Starship launches from there, but then it goes east, and then it goes and connects to the Cape stuff.
It's very tidy writing, by the way. When I ever use Magic Pen, which I've got the ability to do, I come across like a 3-year-old who's had too much Coca-Cola. It just scribbles everywhere. But that's very, very clean writing, Ryan. Well done. Yes. And Ryan is actually doing trajectory lines for us there as well across the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, is it the Gulf of America now? There we go. I said it. I don't care. There we go. One for you, Alex. Adam asks, what altitude range will Starlinks be during this deployment on the 10 deployments of the dumblinks, shall we call it, on flight? So what will they go for? What do you think the plan is for these deployments? Is it just to test the payload mechanism, the PES dispenser, or will they actually try and put them on a some kind of orbit? Because they will need to bring them back down again, won't they? They're obviously not going to be just left up there for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, this is not going to an orbit. They're just going to be essentially putting that suborbital trajectory. So their altitude will be whatever apogee the ship achieves. That's probably going to be very similar apogee for the Starlinks. And then the lowest altitude will be just the ocean. They'll just burn up on re-entry and hit the ocean.
We've also got Chris asking, I like this because we're talking about several rockets on the different streams, but we are covering all these rockets. Chris asks, how long after fully fueled does New Glenn have to launch? Falcon 9 has to launch at T0 or reset 24 hours. Does New Glenn have more wiggle room? So we're talking about launch attempts within the window, such as recycles, Alex.
We saw a few recycles, right, during the static fire campaign for New Glenn. Maybe they are able to do recycling. They have a 3-hour window as well, so that'll be very helpful if they are able to recycle multiple times during that window.
Yeah, I think I mean, to be fair, we don't expect New Glenn to be like completely crazy super chilled like Falcon 9, right? So maybe they have less boil off on and more ability to hop off that rocket with their tank farm. It's a knowledge that we don't have fully yet. It's something that we have built up over time and understand. And even for Falcon, it took us some time, right, to understand everything about that rocket. So yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that takes over time. And then we, by the way, see that beautiful static fire of New Glenn. That's gonna be an amazing sight at night, where we will see hopefully some very blue engines, because the BE4s, at least on Vulcan, look fairly blue on the way they burn, although they have 2 giant solid rocket motors next to them, or had, which might have influenced the way they look.
It probably depends also on the time of day, because when we saw Vulcan's first flight, that was during the night, right? And so the blue really, it was very noticeable, especially after the SRBs separated in flight. But for example, on the second launch, it was in the morning. We actually got a bit more of a green hue, at the end of the burn. That was really nice to see. And for Starship as well, we've seen different colors as well across the different launches and different times of day. So it's always really cool how even a single rocket may have different colors. We see that as well with Falcon 9, right? It lifts off, it's sort of orangey, and then it turns blue. It's always amazing.
It's like if you compare all of these different methane rockets, I think Starship is somewhere in this purple-orange range, usually. Terran 1 was actually very, non-bright. Like it very, just bluish purple. Then we have Zuki 2, which burns very orange. So it's gonna be interesting to see how New Glenn joins that course here, and the way methane rockets burn. They look very different.
I'm gonna backseat produce for a second and ask for Ryan to bring up that static fire shot again of New Glenn. Because did anyone notice that they actually lit up the ship? There's lighting on the rocket.
Oh, true. That has to be intentional, right? Like the way they light it up.
1,000% intentional. You could even see as they're lifting it right now on certain shots, you can see the streaks of light going in the air, and they've got whiter light and bluer light. Like Blue has 100% thought about the presentation of their rocket for launch.
That's said as somebody who has very much close connection to lighting.
I mean, I do design light for a living in another career.
Yeah, but I think it makes sense, right? It has almost like this bluish shine on the static fire. It's like this blue-white shine, which they gave it. It's very cinematic.
I think
the
that's
presentation is really important. It seems to them.
Yeah.
I was gonna joke that maybe that's why they're doing a night launch, so they can show off all of that work.
Show off
Could
all
be.
blue.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They've for sure thought about it. Like they're planning that kind of thing. And just to point this out, New Glenn is still moving very slowly, but New Glenn tends to be. Hello, Chris.
Yeah, it's like reclined and it won't move. I thought, whoa, wait till this goes vertical, but it's been reclined for about 30 minutes. I do have a question for you, Adrian. What's the plan for the countdown to launch shows?
So far with the slips and everything, we have not find the right spot yet to start them. This is a discussion Kevin and I should have off stream at some point. But tomorrow there will be an episode of the Flame Trench, so tomorrow there will not be a countdown to launch. Based on everything we have seen, Kevin, can I say that there's probably a good chance that we will have Saturday and or Sunday a countdown to launch?
I think that's a really great thought.
Yeah, you go.
We'll just have our production meeting right here, live on stream. But I think you're right. I think definitely the Flame Trench will start off our countdown to launches for both of these launches, for New Glenn and for Starship.
Let's live call EJ on the stream. Let's just get a phone out, put a phone next to the microphone, and just call EJ and just say, "Well, when you fancy it?" And just, you're live to 4,000 people.
Yeah, we are discussing the meeting live. It's our new thing. We'll just do it live. It's gonna be funny. People underestimate the amount of things we talk in the meetings.
I did suggest in chat we could do a late night Raptor side where we do a live calling with chat. Kevin, do you think that'd be a great idea?
Let's do it.
Just first time caller, long time listener. Nothing could go wrong with that whatsoever. Look at chat. The chat's kind of like knowing where this would go. You definitely get one clever person going, I know, I'll just call in and I'll be really awkward and say some rude words.
Yeah.
You think one?
Yeah,
it will be more.
And that person would be me. I'd be like, this is my chance to shine.
Go on. But they're just to because people are also asking what we'll do for everything. Both launch streams are actually scheduled at this point on our channel. We will do coverage for both of them. Starship will be somewhere around 8-9 hours before launch where we'll go live. For New Glenn, we will also do around 4 hours before the opening of the window. We even have some people you have maybe not heard before. For example, if you're paid close attention to this channel, Harry Stranger might make a stream debut as the person that pays the most attention to Blue Origin. So we'll have some cool commentary, I think, coming up for this. And there's a lot of people also in the field for New Glenn.
Make sure you have your satellite imagery questions ready for Harry's debut, because Harry knows everything about satellites to the point that we joked that he's got an actual satellite in orbit that is Harry Sat 1, because he has that access to amazing imagery. So thanks to Harry for that. Harry's in chat. There he is. He's listening. There we go. Harry's in chat. So yes, make sure you have those questions for Harry, because Harry will lap those questions up. I know that for a fact. Alex, remind me. I keep forgetting the timeline for this, but we've been talking about big rockets. Barbecue Weasel asks, how close is SLS ready to its next flight?
Well, right now the problem for SLS's next flight is not SLS itself. It's the payload that is carrying, right? The Orion. SLS, they have all of the rocket parts ready to go. They're just waiting on that Orion capsule, that heat shield, the batteries, the life support system, all of that to be ready for launch. So as ready as it can be. That's how it is. That's the answer, I guess.
It's fair enough, because yeah, it really is a case of the waiting for Orion. It used to be, it's gone through cycles. I can go back to the first time Orion was, in fact I can go back to when Orion was down selected to what it was, a capsule. Now there was a Lockheed Martin proposal for Orion that really looked like a dream chaser. I don't know if anybody in chat remembers it. We're going back about 20 years now. But it was quite an impressive looking vehicle. But then they down selected it to Boeing's, to the Lockheed Martin's own other design of the capsule, which we see today. And there was a point during the Ares program where Ares was going through so many struggles, it was adversely hindering, and that was the actual word from Orion contractors, the design process of Orion, because it didn't have the ability to lift it properly. It had to zero mass base it, which was basically take out capability. Now thankfully with SLS they've got all the lift capability they need, so that's great. But it's now a case of where SLS was in a case of holding things up, but now it's the other way around because of the heat shield, as Alex was talking about. I went long-winded there, I didn't mean to, but it is a case of now we see SLS...
Can we not? We're showing Ares 1X.
Again, always my fault bringing it up, wasn't it? That's my fault. Best rocket.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can describe a vehicle that was basically a 4-segment SRB with a dummy stage on top as the best rocket.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense, Ryan. I don't know what the love is. Is it the shape, Ryan? Hang on a minute. Even EJ's in chat saying it's one of the best ever. What is with the Ares 1 fan club? I don't know why he got fan club.
It's such a weird fan club.
It is. It's a very weird fan club. But yeah, it's still on the screen. Oh my word. Here we go. Ryan has gone mad with power. And he's now writing over these things that people could screenshot and say NSF.
Jay is also saying it.
Oh,
Jay is also saying it's the best rocket.
It's a cult. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I'll do a poll in chat, and I know the poll will probably get best rocket, and it'd be like, oh no, what's going on? We're getting trolled by it. Status update. Hang on, New Glenn looks like it's less reclining now. It looks like it's caught up a little bit to the point that it's nearly vertical, and we have a full stack Ship 33 and Booster 14 at Starbase as well. Do we have 2 vertical rockets? Well, we have definitely 1 vertical rocket because that's the way to stack it, but is New Glenn vertical now?
I think we have 2 vertical rockets on both pads here.
There we go.
That is amazing.
I got completely distracted by the back room. Max is almost inciting Ryan to show that on stream. I don't know if we should, because it could easily be misconstrued. So I don't think probably we should.
No, we shouldn't show that.
No. Let's stick with the rocket, shall we? The rocket's been New Glenn on LC-36, now vertical, and in its maiden flight from Cape Canaveral. We also have Starship on Pad A at Starbase, Ship 33 and Booster 14, preparing for Flight 7. They are going to go for a booster catch, and they're going to go for a deployment of Starlinks. We call them dumb links for fun, because they're not working Starlinks, but they're testing the deployment. Look at this split screen's amazing. We also have a McGregor test just joining in, have we? Oh my goodness. It's all
Anybody
going
else
on.
anybody else wants to start here? But what can happen at this point that adds to the stream?
It's bonkers.
You
We
can,
have McGregor going off at the same time, yeah. But I
We
think
can
at this
vote on
point...
There's one being the best rocket ever.
What?
No.
No, EJ, no.
AJ!
He just left. He popped in,
just-
he said that.
He just
and
did that.
left.
He left before I could put him on a naughty step like 911. 911. Oh, well, I don't remember the show. There's a show where there was an English nanny went over to America and told American little kids off by putting them on a naughty step on the stairs. There we go. It was a show probably not many people saw, so maybe I'm just going over people's heads here. But let's get back to the rocket, shall we? LC-36, New Glenn, is vertical. So we got that out of the way. Well done. Thanks to Max for the amazing shots and also our cameras there. And Alex is doing a no. We'll never finish the stream.
I forgot. We're not going to cover that, but there's also a launch of a Falcon 9 from Vandenberg.
Oh my goodness, when's that
In a
happening?
couple of hours.
Couple of hours?
Yeah, I think it's in a couple of hours, yeah.
Oh no.
So, I can give you a quick rundown of what NSF will cover in the next few days, Chris, if you want to start the finishing the stream process.
Yes.
Cool. So, today we covered, of course, this, which was an unexpected XXL stacking rockets going vertical stream. We, of course, would, if tomorrow SpaceX will start to go for wet dress rehearsal, stream that. Spoiler. We also stream tomorrow the Starlink 12-12 mission. We have another episode of the Flame Trench tomorrow, where we will have Jack Bayer, EJ, and Sawyer being on the show. That's the current plan. On Saturday and Sunday, there's most likely to be some countdown to launch action. Then, on Monday morning, we have right now planned the Blue Ring Pathfinder mission for New Glenn, which is also the New Glenn maiden flight. And then at a bit later, we have a Starlink mission, and then we have Starship, which is currently planned for late Monday. So that's your next few days in the NSF cosmos.
Very good. It's never dull days.
Sorry, New Glenn is Sunday morning, not Monday morning. My bad.
There we go. Never dull days, and that's an easy mistake to happen because there's so many things going off. That Vandenberg launch, I was like, what? Another one? There we go. So we'll be obviously covering the New Glenn maiden launch. If it goes first, remember, scrubs can happen with brand new rockets. And then we'll also be covering Starship, obviously, with all our things. Yes, it is Super Nanny was the show. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad I'm not the only person who knew about it now. That's the main thing. So, yeah, we've got all these rockets to cover. I have a few closing items to cover. First and foremost is thanks for your support. I always make a point of trying to put everybody's support on screen because your support is what makes this happen. But it was impossible today. And this wasn't exactly a massive stream. We do streams with like 6 figures during Starship launches. This was like 4,000 people or so, which is still a lot of people, don't get me wrong. But the amount of support for that amount of people was bonkers. And we couldn't, the panel literally broke. That's how much support we got. I'm not making it up. You know me, I'm too Yorkshire to make things up. All this support. So thank you for it. I want to also mention thanks to our teams in the background, such as producing this, such as Ryan. And I've got like some music in my ear, which is really annoying. I don't know if someone's doing it on purpose. For Kevin McElreed, for Ryan Caton, and for all Team Gage, controlling the cameras. Thanks to all of you for doing that. But also we have all our social team, which keep you informed on all different formats, to the point we also have a Blue Sky account now for people who somehow don't like X anymore. I'm going to put it in there. We've got an account. We're trying to work our way at mirroring our X feed onto the Blue Sky thing. If we can stop that music in the background, I'd really appreciate it, because I can't talk while listening to that at the same time. But what we've got is all our social accounts on the screen right now, which is very much, yeah, people get excited about Blue Sky. But yeah, we want to make sure you have all the choices to get your feeds of information from. So that's why we've done that as well. We also have TikTok, would you believe, which I've never used in my life and I never will. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got our X feed, obviously, which is primary. And that's where you can keep in touch with all, coming up with all the streams. Let me thank who's been on with us as well. We're starting with Adrian. Thank you, Adrian.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me derail the stream for several minutes when we released the patch.
Also, thank you to Alex. Thank you, Alex.
Rails? Where are we going? We don't need rails.
That's true, yeah. I don't know if everyone else could hear that music in the background at the same time as it's in my ear. Oh, that was annoying. But luckily, it's now we can start playing it, Ryan. We can start playing the Oscar music to get me off the stage because I've spoken too long. My speech has gone on too long. There we go. There's the Oscar music. That's telling me to get off the stage. So thank you all for your support again. I'm gonna say it several times. I don't care because you deserve it. And until next time, what's the next stream, Adrian? When will our next stream be?
I'm scheduling that right now. It will be the wet dress rehearsal tomorrow.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, my word, yeah. Wet dress rehearsal tomorrow for Starship, Pad A. Flight 7, Ship 33, Booster 14. And that will set the stage for the launch on Net Monday. So until then, thanks for joining us. And until next time, goodbye.
And here we go.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. Off.
It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage! What is it? Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.